Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Frankie J Experience's new Frankie J Experience Raw. And I appreciate everyone being here. I'm trying something new and it's exciting. So, again, welcome to the all new Frankie J Raw, where we're ready, able, willing, whenever to talk about a topic. And what we do is we talk about it in 30 minutes tops, and we move on to next week on to a new topic. If you look on my fortune cookie ticker there, it'll show you my website, frankiejexperience.com, along with my email, info@frankiejexperience.com, along with another website called podbrothernation.com. So if anybody has any show ideas or specific topics you want to talk about in 30 minutes maximum on the next show, send me an email and in the subject line put raw topic. And on the podbrothernation.com website, that's where my live shows every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time are happening. So if you go right to that website and hit live now, you'll see me there every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have a great show planned this Thursday with a very, very popular and very, very talented comedian here local in the Niagara Falls, Buffalo area, Rich Lambo. It's going to be a great one because it's going to be my first in studio interview ever. So I'm excited for that. And I'll go ahead and come up now. Hi, everybody. It's Frankie J here. So thanks, Mark, for being here. I do appreciate it. And I just want to do a little bit of house cleaning before we get going here, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Um, so I want to just explain to everybody that because it's only a 30-minute show, we want to keep it moving along. So if people want to come up and contribute, you're more than welcome to. We encourage it, but what we ask is that we bring you up, you provide your quick input or provide your quick question, and then we'll very nicely put you off the stage so the next person who wants to come up can, because we want to get as many people as we can in that 30-minute time frame. I'm trying to make this a quick lunchtime show, and I don't want to take up too much time. So again, anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome. Just go to the little equal sign in the bottom left of your screen, hit that, and then request to speak. We'll see it. And we'll bring you up one at a time and boot you off one at a time, and then that way we can get everybody in as possible. Also, if you're too shy to come up on just the microphone or whatever, you can go ahead and hit the react button, pick an emoji, and then you can send in a text message and we can bring those up here on the show as well. So you're not held to coming up on the stage or anything like that. So there's many ways that you can participate in the show. Those are just a couple. So with today's topic, I thought it was very necessary, and I'll tell you this, I did a talk on this very topic on another platform uh last evening or the night before, and it got some really good feedback. So that's why I'm excited about it. Today's topic is this, and it's a question. What happened to common sense? What happened to it? Where'd it go? Because I don't understand it. I think my mind's playing tricks on me at times, and it might be. So what happened to common sense? I have whatchamacallit, I actually took the time to do some research on this specific question, what happened to common sense? And I was asking myself before I looked it up, is the lack of common sense getting worse because of people slowly trickling out of the pandemic, or is it just I'm noticing it more because I'm more observant? So I had to do some research, and when I looked up the definition of common sense, and this is the Merriam-Webster version, don't forget, I always go right to the top of the line here. It it had one definition, and the definition went like this: common sense definition. It's a what is it? Sound and prudent judgment on a simple perception of the situation or facts. So, I guess in a way it's saying common sense is your natural ability to make good judgments, and to behave in a practical and sensible way. And that's where I think a lot of the nation and a lot of the society is lacking right now, is that two word. statement, common sense. So I did the research on it, because those of you out there that know Frankie J, I do research, I get facts, and I speak truth. So I also wanted to kind of make my own list, and my own list of the top 6 uh, reasons people lack common sense. And there are many, many reasons why people lack common sense. And when I took the time to actually go and check out why people lack common sense, I was sort of pushed back a couple inches myself, because um, I might be in this group of people too. I might lack common sense to someone else's definition of common sense. So the first of the 6 reasons that I put together, I only wanted to put 6 together because we only do have a half hour here. So, first one, we can't excel in all types of intelligence. So it's like smart kids excel in everything. You have those high school kids that have honor roll grades. They get scholarships to any school of their liking for sports, instruments, whatever, and yet they don't know how to take out the garbage. They lack that portion of common sense. So, what I came to the conclusion of is that there's different versions of common sense. I never knew that, so I'm glad I took the time to research it, but I also thought this would be a good topic for people to possibly vent, to possibly share their comments on what common sense is, what it should be, what it shouldn't be, and I took it upon myself to go ahead and put myself out there to do this show to try to come up with what, common sense is. And then the second reason that I came up with, and there was many, there was hundreds, so I came up with the top 6 that I felt would be appropriate for today's show. So the second one it came up was some people are simply better than others at considering the possibilities and accounting for them when choosing the best way to do something. For example, you're at a restaurant like a McDonald's and there's a kids play zone and you have a boiling hot cup of coffee that you just bought, and you go out and you're going to watch the kids, but yet you lay that hot cup of coffee down on one of the kids' tables. Now, to me, I would say you're lacking common sense. Why would you put a hot cup of coffee down where potentially kids could knock it over and spill it on one another or you, causing great pain or hospitalization? Because I can speak very well. Frankie J has a good voice when he wants to. So when I thought of that, I'm like, you know what? That person probably didn't think of those things because they might be in a different mindset, right? So they're not thinking in what I would consider a common sense way, but in their brain, they're watching a group of kids and they feel that they have common sense enough to watch the kids alone. So their brain might not expand that far to call it common sense, where I'm sitting in the other area of the restaurant looking at this woman going, "Does she have any common sense or not?" And I know there's people out there that get what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to bring this topic up. And then there was, like I said, a bunch of reasons. And then the third one I felt that would be good for the top 6 is it's often easier to know what to do than it is to do it. So do what I say, not what I do. So there are people out there that will say that's wrong. Where's your common sense? Yet a day later, they'll do the same thing that they were telling you not to. I grew up like that. That's how my father was. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, but I'm going to do it and I get away with it. You're not. So that's kind of like a common sense thing. So on the outside looking in, people would say, "Well, where's the common sense in that? Why is he allowed to act that way, behave that way, but yet he tells his own son if he does, he's in trouble? Where is the common sense in that?" And that's another version of the 2 words common sense. Where why are we lacking these 2 words? They're so important. It's common sense is what something you're born with. Like, I was talking to a guest on my show the other night, and I made the comment, what happens if a newborn baby ends up on accident putting their hand over a hot flame? By reaction, their common sense is gonna say, "Move your hand, newborn or not, because it's hot." That's common sense, believe it or not. We are born with a version or way to think in a common sense way, and we don't realize it. So the fourth one, and this is pretty cool too, People are just set in their ways sometimes. They're just set in their beliefs in the way they handle their business, the way they conduct themselves, so that what happens is they feel that any way they are going to do it, that's the way it's going to be. And that's their version of common sense. So we also got to keep that in consideration. There are people that are set in their ways, the ways they do things, even though common, I guess you could say common grounds or the definition of common sense has changed throughout the decades because it has. People have become more vulnerable, more lackadaisical, more lazy in noticing things. And I also have to keep in my other side of my brain, are these a direct result of the pandemic that we just came out of here for the last few years? Are people starting to come back out and they're so amped up inside that they just that common sense feature in their brain just disappears, and I'm wondering if that could be the case too. So, anyways, the next one is, they're set in their ways, but then people are just selfish. Let's face it, there's people that are just selfish. And with that, for an example, there's a pregnant woman, right? I mean, she's obviously pregnant. She gets onto a subway train, onto a car, and it's filled with people. There's no sitting room, right? If you were to have a hidden camera on one of those subway trains, which they probably do actually, if you were to review one of those tapes, you would probably see a lot of people turn their faces pretending they didn't see that pregnant woman get on the train. And there's a reason why. Nobody wants to give up their seat, right? They might have to go a longer way than that pregnant. Whatever the reason is, they don't wanna give up their seat, so in their mind, if I don't see that pregnant woman getting on the train, then I'm not gonna be held reliable I'm not gonna be held accountable for being the one that uses my common sense to offer that woman my seat because she needs it more than I do, and I'll stand. So, there are selfish people out there that believe that way, and that's another reason why I wanted to do this topic because there are people out there that are selfish. They're just straight up about themselves and themselves only. So they will turn a shy eye and take their common sense and keep it to themselves, even though they know it's a common courtesy. And another gentleman who came up on my stage the other night on my other application brought up the fact that common sense isn't really common sense, it's common courtesy. So there's different definitions and different versions of common sense. So it was a really good discussion, and I'm glad I brought it up here on Fireside. And when people are selfish, that is what causes a lot of problems because there are people, if there's a full subway train, like I said, and one of the 35 people that are filling the seats don't offer that woman a seat, there's going to be somebody potentially statistically that's going to say, "Hey, why doesn't someone offer that your seat to that woman?" So they're still being selfish, but they're using their common sense in a way they feel is good and speaking up to the others on that subway train car to give up their seat. So there's all different twisted versions of common sense, and I learned that after reading about it. It was absolutely mind-blowing to see everything that I was reading. And then there's, just plain old personality differences. A lot of people think differently. They just have different thoughts. They have different visions. They have different beliefs in what common sense is, and their definition is the best and only decision out there. There is no other way to do it. So they in their minds are just they don't care. They don't care either way. There are people that have common sense. They have very good common sense, but they are just selfish and their personality clashes with potentially the person that the common sense should be used towards. So you have that as a problem too. So again, common sense. Is anybody out there want to put in their 2 cents? Mark, are you interested in contributing to today's show, or are you one of the robots that watches the show? I'm not real certain. But you're more than welcome to come up and put your opinion on stage here because it is a very big topic in my eyes because when I go out in public so many people lack common sense that it's almost like, I don't even wanna go out. I don't even wanna go out. I made an example the other night. If you're on a three-way highway, right? You got 3 lanes, and the right lane has the right turn arrow or the straight arrow, so it's like a straight and right, and there's 2 lanes wide open, the middle lane, and the far left lane, and there's really no cars out. Common sense would tell you if you have no intentions on making a right on that next street at the signal, I would move over to the second or far left lane. That's common sense, right? Common courtesy, if you wanna put it that way. Do you know how many people I see every time I go out to drive, to go anywhere, there's always that one person that will get in that right turn lane with no intentions on turning. Now, they're not doing anything illegal because it is marked straight or right. That's usually in the case that it's, filled with traffic and sometimes you just get stuck in that lane. But if there's nobody out, common sense, common courtesy is going to tell you, move over. Let that person who has the right signal on 2, 3, 4 car lengths ahead of that turn and you have time to get over a lane, move over a lane. That would be common courtesy, common sense. You would be amazed. And I might even just turn my camera on and drive and have valid proof that this isn't made up in my mind. So, when it comes to common sense, where is it? What happened to it? So, um, I'd like to call it? I'd like to also make this point. I intend on using this show as a platform for people to more or less bitch and complain, and we do it in 30 minutes tops. So it's a good, quick half hour of people wanting to throw up their complaints, their beefs, their misunderstandings, miscommunications, whatever the case may be. This is going to be the place to do it right here on Frankie J. Raw. So I do encourage everybody out there, if you're watching the replay here or not, or watching live anywhere on Facebook Live or YouTube, definitely send an email to info@frankiejexperience.com and send in your ideas for a show. And I will make mention of who came up with the idea and we'll discuss that topic for a quick half hour. And again, we'll get as many people on the stage as possible to discuss that topic. And like I said, today's topic was, what happened to common sense. And I had to really, really look at this again because it was so bizarre to me when I would always ask people when I get on a phone call with them, what do you think of this? How would you have acted in this situation? Was this person lacking common sense? And they'd be like, well, why do you think they were lacking common sense? And I'm like, well, if if you walk up to a 15 item or less express aisle and you have a cart full hundreds of items, common sense would tell you that's not the aisle for you when it says 15 items or less. But when I go shopping, there's always that one person that will sit there and go through that aisle, but they'll be counting to see if they have, 15 items or less, and they'll have like 45. And it doesn't look like a lot, but when the aisle says 15 items or less and you're going in with 45, you're, breaking that code or that unwritten rule of common sense, common courtesy. Now, the cashier is still going to take you because that's their job. They're not going to tell you, oh, you can't come in this lane. They're going to check you out. But common courtesy, common sense would tell you there are people just going to the store for one, two, maybe three things. They don't want to stand in a line behind somebody that has 400 items that's going to be there for 20 minutes. So they open up these express lanes to try to, filter out the crowd and make it more efficient. But the problem is, these people that lack what I call common sense don't move out of the way. They want their way and their way only. And that's where the selfish version of common sense comes in. Like I said earlier, there are the selfish people that believe that they're right no matter what, whenever, and they can do what they want because they are better than you or whatever reason. They might have a reason they're in a hurry, okay? But you're not going to go any faster in an express lane with 45 items than you would in a lane designated for as many items as you want. That express lane could have a line wrapped around the store, and you might have better chances on getting out faster just waiting in line behind that one full cart. So it's really just a dice roll, but common courtesy and common sense would tell you if I have a cart full, I'm not gonna go to that lane. I wouldn't. I would feel like a jerk because I know cameras on me, and I already have enough people with cameras on me. I don't need to put that out there. But again, common sense. I had to talk about it, and I do want to bring this up. Um, every week when we do this, 12 noon Eastern time on Tuesdays, live here on Fireside, I do want to have at least one or two people that come up and share their ideas, their input, or their beliefs in whatever topic I bring up. Next week's topic will be fun too, and I'll make an announcement on that when I start putting together next week's uh, Frankie J Raw, and I'll put it together well before the show so people can add their input on my social media. I'm on frankiejexperience.com. All of my social media is on there, along with all my shows from here on Fireside and podbrothernation.com. So you can check out all my stuff there. And all my social media links are on there as well. So that's like my home base. I got my first homepage, which is, really exciting for me. 5 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would be doing live shows, I would have been like, what? What are those? No, I'm not doing that. But here I am, years later, really putting it together, leveling up. And I wish my buddy or both my buddies, JoJo and Ref Kimbrough, were here to chop it up with me, but they both have prior engagements. They weren't able to make it today. But moving forward, I hope that they have a couple times where they can come in and share their opinion on whatever topic we have. Because this is just to tell the tip of the show. We haven't even really got into it yet. This is the second show. The first one went very well with Ref Kimbrough and myself, where we just kind of chopped it up, explained a little bit about what the show is going to be. And again, it's going to be a quick half hour. We're going to talk about a topic from start to finish in a half hour, and that's it. And then we'll move on to the next topic the following week. So it's designed to be a quick listen, quick watch, quick, fun, interactive show that Frankie J is trying to put together for people to participate, because there's some shows that are just a little too long for them, and there are some shows that just aren't what they want. So I'm trying to put something together that everybody can participate in, everybody can have a word, everybody can have a voice, and that's what I'm looking to do. Provide that platform for people of all backgrounds to come in: judges, lawyers, doctors, cashiers, bus drivers, truck drivers, whatever. Come up, come in, share your voice. This is where you can do it. This is where you should do it on the Frankie J Raw show, because it is going to take off. This is going to be the number one show on Fireside sooner or later. We're working hard towards it here in the background where no one sees. So I do want to keep it short and simple here at the end, because again, it was a quick half hour, and we're about maybe 8 minutes away from ending today's episode of Frankie J Raw. And I do thank everybody out there watching either on Facebook or YouTube, and my one guest here, Mark, for being here today and sharing the second episode of Frankie J Raw. Again, we want to do things here that are entertaining, fun, interactive, all the above. And then I keep my Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time show as a more serious interview style show. And again, this week's guest is going to be amazing. It's going to be in studio with me, on camera, live on podbrothernation.com. So I'm excited that I get to bring my first guest into my studio that I have worked really hard on here in the last 4 years to put together, to do a live show, an interview show with a very well-known comedian here locally in Buffalo and Niagara Falls area. And he's been doing it for a long, long time. And he's hilarious. I used to work with him. And I'll tell you, the job wouldn't have been fun at all if he wouldn't have been in that building. And I can remember the day he resigned. His 2 week notice was 2 weeks of me absorbing laughter to save up for moving forward, because I was gonna miss him that bad. The place was not the same without him after, and I'm honored, humbled, and fortunate enough to have been able to get a hold of him to bring him live in studio for my next live show on podbrothernation.com. So again, everybody, I do appreciate everyone that's been here. It's a little too bad no one wanted to participate, but that's okay. These shows take some time to build, and sometimes people have to watch the replays and make sure it's something they're going to like. But I do assure you one thing: I'm Frankie J. I'm fun. I'm full of laughter. I'm full of comedy, and I'm full of truth. And I'll say it like it is. So again, everybody, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on podbrothernation.com. It's on the fortune cookie right in front of you. Any further information that you want, need, or desire, go to frankiejexperience.com. And you can also send me an email message, feedback, reviews on the show, or ideas for future shows, even at info@frankiejexperience.com. I will read every email and I will respond to every email. So I look forward to next week. And I do appreciate everyone being here this week. And this has been officially the second episode of Frankie J Raw. Thanks everybody for participating. See you next week.